So you want to know what it's like to own a Galaxy Note 5. Well, let me start off by saying this phone is big, but not quite as big as something like the iPhone 6 Plus. If you're used to using the Note series or most other smartphones with at least a 5.5-inch display, you won't be surprised here, but coming from something smaller, it'll take some getting used to, but I think for anyone, it's absolutely possible. It may feel a little big in the hands at first, but with time that'll pass. Samsung really stepped up their game in the design department and made this a good-looking and feeling phone. People have been begging Samsung to go the premium feeling route for years, and this is the year that they did it with the Note 5 and the S6 from earlier this year. While the looks and feel of this device are great, there are some drawbacks. You no longer have access to the battery since it's sealed in, and there's also no expandable storage option, which may be a pretty big deal to the power users that the Note series is usually targeted at. It's also quite a bit slippery due to the all-glass back, which also has some curves on the sides, so it'll fit nicely into the hand, but it might not always stay there. However, I do find that these curved sides help the phone to not be so prominent while in my pockets. Not only is it a bit hard to get a grip of, but this thing's a fingerprint magnet. If you're a microfiber cloth using junkie like me, you're not in for a good time. Luckily, there are some ways around it. You can use a case like I have here on the Galaxy S6, but as you can see, it does take away from its great looks. Your other option is to throw a skin on it. I've got some here from Slick Wraps, and it definitely helps to add some texture and grip to the phone so you can safely hold it and avoid those crazy fingerprints. And if you're big on having a phone that isn't like everyone else's, there are tons of different options for you to choose from. On the sides, we have familiar button placement, which should make them easy to use, and they give a nice click when you press them. Now, we've addressed that it's a big phone, but that also means it comes with a big, beautiful display. As with most Samsung phones, the screen is great. We're looking at a Quad HD display that's vibrant, bright, and really a pleasure to look at from all angles. The large screen makes it perfect for media consumption and even doing normal things like texting and using your everyday apps, as well as web browsing. And no matter what you plan to do with the Note 5, it'll handle it pretty well. It has some killer specs, so you can expect a very fluid and buttery smooth experience. I've encountered no issues in day-to-day performance, but honestly, that's to be expected nowadays. So whether you're word processing, playing your favorite games, or even taking advantage of the multitasking capabilities, the Note 5 will handle it with no issues. I especially like gaming on a phone like this because you can really appreciate some of the great colors and detail you find while playing some of the better looking games. And speaking of killer specs, this thing has a 16 megapixel camera that takes amazing photos. A good camera is one of the most important features to me on a smartphone, and the Note 5 is easily one of the best I've ever used. You'll be able to get some great photos with honestly very little effort. And if you do want to put some effort into it, you can pull off some really great shots with the Pro mode that allows you to use the camera's manual controls. Now, when it comes to battery performance, a full day has been pretty typical for me, but of course this varies depending on how heavily you'll use it. Compared to the Note 4, it does have a slightly smaller and no longer removable battery. This could be a problem for some power users, but Samsung makes up for that with the Note 5's fast charging. With the included fast charger, you'll be able to get up and running from 0 to 50% in about 30 minutes. That makes it pretty easy to get back some serious juice while at work or anywhere else you'll have access to an outlet and some downtime. It even features wireless charging, so that adds to the list of convenient charging features. Now, don't think I forgot about good old S Pen. Now, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge S Pen user. I did find myself trying to make use of it, but it simply isn't something I'd use on a daily basis. However, that doesn't mean there aren't useful ways to use it. It has a new design which no longer needs a fingernail to pull it out. Simply push it in, and after an extremely satisfying click, you'll easily be able to remove it. The pen does have some awesome features like the ability to simply pull it out while the phone isn't awake and immediately start taking notes. This could be really useful when you just needed to jot down a quick note. There are also some cool features like being able to make much longer screenshots, perfect for those hilarious conversations you want to save without having to use 4 or 5 different screenshots. Or you can simply use the pen to access shortcuts to your favorite apps. There are quite a few features available for S Pen, but how you use it every day will really be up to you. Considering this is such a great phone, I wouldn't make a decision based on how much you'd use the pen. think of it simply as a bonus. And while on the topic of bonuses, here's a bonus for you. I'm teaming up with Slick Wraps to give away a brand new Galaxy Note 5 to one of you guys. It's a pretty simple giveaway and it's being held over on Twitter, so be sure to follow us both there. I'll have links and details in the description if you guys are interested. You should be interested. But the Note 5 is definitely a top dog in the smartphone world right now, and it's definitely one of my favorites to date. Hopefully this video helped, and if it did, be the cool guy that gives it a thumbs up. Until the next video, it's your average consumer. Peace.